Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're here with me for the first time, my name is Melissa Reed and I'm a mixed media artist from Pennsylvania. You see that in front of me today I have an 8x10 cradled board. I believe I got that off of Amazon. I will put a link for you of that and everything else that I'm using today in the description of the video. Now I'm going to start with this unprimed, but I'm going to be covering the entire board in black paint to start because I want a nice dark base. So I pulled out my Liquitex Basics, that is carbon black, I believe, and also some Windsor and Newton Payne's gray as well, because I thought I might want to have some varying tones and shades, although this is all going to get covered up by the next step anyway. So I'm starting this as I do with most of my pieces without much of a strong idea in place. I just have a vague basic concept that I want some sort of a kind of grungy looking background, and I am going to then draw some pencil lines on it, and that's kind of all I've got. Just a very, very loose idea. So you may have seen there that I laid a piece of tissue paper down on that. That was just to pull off any excess paint. So this is just a sheet of scratch paper that I've pulled out here, and I'm grabbing some of the paints out of my collection, and I'm going to just be mixing up some colors. That is such a beautiful turquoise or teal color. I can't remember which one that is. That was a level 3 Artist's Loft that they no longer make, sadly, but I love that color so much. And I am using it to almost make like monoprints on top of that black paint. So what that's doing is laying down a little bit of color, so there's some color deposited there, but you can still see a good amount of the black paint through that. And I'm going to just keep going on with some different colors. That's unbleached titanium, and I'm mixing it with some more of that like gray-green, I believe, or green-gray, what I believe that's called, green-gray. You can see the color scheme that I'm kind of going with here. I want these blues and green-gray colors, which is something that I use a lot. I'm applying some with the roller just because I had extra paint left on the roller there, and I'm not too particular about what it's looking like on there right now. My goal is just to get the coverage on there. So I'm just using the roller to deposit more of that, and we're just building up layers. I apologize if that's hanging off of the frame there. You'll see it in a minute. But I'm not doing anything on the bottom that I'm not also doing on the top there, which is just filling that entire board with the paint. If you're looking for a good way to make a background or even to get this kind of look on any part of a painting, this is a really great way to do it, because you're not getting any brush strokes for one thing, you're not getting complete coverage for another, and you're still able to see wonderful layers as you apply them. And the layers themselves are almost creating another color as they kind of mask the colors beneath them, especially if you're using more translucent or transparent colors. So just something to keep in mind with your own work. And you can also use this method to remove deposited color as well. As you can see that I'm doing there, I'm depositing with a paper that has paint on it, and I'm also using a clean sheet to pull some of the paint off if I feel that I've gotten a little too much in certain places. So here I'm going in with a mix of the unbleached titanium and also titanium white just to get some brighter highlighted spots in there. And that will be the last layer that I apply in this manner. Another little bonus that you get is those papers that you're using to mix and roll the paint on, like the roll-off sheets, you can hang on to those because those will make interesting collage papers at some point as well. I have to really stop myself from hanging onto every tiny scrap of paper because otherwise I would just be completely overrun with it. But some of them turn out really neat, so I don't know. Some of them are definitely worth hanging on to, in my opinion. Okay, I've let everything completely dry, and I've got, I believe that is a 4B pencil and my ruler, and I am going in and making some lines. Now, these are intentionally skewed. I do not want straight lines. I did know that I wanted 3 segments, and I'm just making sure that those are nice and dark. Now, like I said, that's a 4B pencil, so a much softer leaded pencil. So that's going to deposit more of the graphite onto the surface just by the nature of the type of graphite that's in there. But I'm going over the line several times just to make sure they're nice and dark. I wanted to use the graphite because that's the look that I want. I'd considered possibly using a pen of some sort or a marker, but I didn't really want them to be that dark and prominent, but also I didn't want them to be like that flat black. I wanted the kind of gray shine that the graphite brings. Now, this is the point where I kind of don't know what else I want to do with this because that was really where the idea stopped. So you'll see on the next part, I did attempt to go in with some pastels and add color to some of those rectangles. But ultimately I didn't like the way that looked at all, so I ended up wiping it all off. So if you do see a little bit of color deposited on there, it's just where I couldn't wipe the rest of the color off. I didn't really feel the need to include that segment because I had erased it anyway, so just know that that's what I did there. So what I squeezed into that little lid is some metallic leaf glue. I decided to go in with some of my copper foil that I have, and this stuff needs like 30 minutes, I think it is, to cure before you can apply the leaf to it. So I just went in and did, I think, a handful of these sections because I didn't want a ton of it on there, but I did want some spots of it. It's been a while since I used the foil, and since I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do here, that is the winner. So that's just like a cheapy little brush that came in a set of, I don't know, like 50 different cheapy brushes that I got at Michael's. And I keep it just for stuff like this. I don't actually paint with it. You do want to get that into water as soon as you're done using it because that will definitely ruin a brush, and it gets very sticky, like very, very sticky. I got it on my hand and it's like almost impossible to get off until you really scrub it. So you want to make sure that brush gets cleaned out or it will be completely ruined. And so I'm back after about half an hour or so. And I've got my copper foil sheets there. I will, like I said, have a link for all of these things in the description for you, as always. And I'm just setting those on top, trying to remember which of those little rectangles I actually colored in. You'll be able to see if you hold it up to the light, there's a slight shine to it where the glue was. And that's just a stiffer bristled brush that I use to clean up the edges. Perfectly fine. You can see it's kind of at the top of the screen there, a little yogurt cup that I keep my foil crumbs in. Nothing wrong with using those on there as well. It's all going to work out the same for you. I just want to make sure that those are covered, and then I will use that soft brush there just to brush everything off. And then I have you probably can't tell, but I have another sheet of paper down on my work surface there, and then I will just lift that up and save all of those little crumbs and be able to use those all over again so that there's no waste. It's not like the metallic foils are, crazy expensive, but there is a cost associated, and there's no sense in throwing away something that you can still use. Now I'm just taking that same pencil and going back around any of the areas that may have gotten covered up with either the foil or the glue, and just kind of re-emphasizing the lines around there. As I'm finishing up this step, I am planning in my head of what I might want to do next with this, and I wasn't 100% sure, but it's been a while since I put a cat into a piece, so I decided to just freehand a little picture of a cat, and that's what I'm going to do right here. Thinking a little bit more about composition at this point. I never like to put anything dead center because it's just not a very interesting composition. So if I put the image of the cat right there, it allows for room in case I want to add something else, which I do end up doing. But even if I don't, it still compositionally makes visual sense. So I'm just drawing that in with that same pencil. And then I'm going to get some of my Rowney Payne's Gray ink, because I wanted it a dark color, but not a flat black. So the ink worked out well, and I actually even added a little bit of water to it. And I'm just going to go around the entire perimeter of the cat that I'd drawn in, get it all outlined, and then I'll take some more of the ink, fill it in, and darken some areas. I definitely am not going to call it shading, but just to give a tiny little bit of dimension to it. If you want to add images like this to your work, but don't really have a lot of confidence in your drawing skills, there is no shame in that. You can always go to an image resource like unsplash.com, and those are all royalty-free images. You can cut out and make yourself like a little stencil, or you can use a photograph and do the same thing, or a magazine image if you wanted to, and that way you can get an image that you're going to be pleased with into the piece. I mean, this is not highly realistic or anything, but I think it gets the point across of cat, which is really all I kind of wanted here. I definitely wasn't going for photorealism, but not too shabby if I do say so myself. And this was a stopping point for me. I've said before in some of my videos that when I reach a point where I don't really know what the next step is, or I don't have a plan, or nothing seems obvious, sometimes I will sleep on it and take a look at it with fresh eyes in the morning, or even just after a couple of hours. And that's what I did with this piece here. I stopped working on it on Wednesday evening, and when I came back to it Thursday morning, I knew what the next step was. Not necessarily the ending step, but it did get me to the point where we're going to go next. And that was with some of my ransom note style lettering. I did not include pulling those prints in this video just for the sake of time. I didn't really want the video to get too crazy long. I will link a video at the end on how I make those. It's just jelly printing some magazine text. But I did go ahead and do that. But before I got to that step, I decided I wanted to edge the entire thing with some of my dark chalk. So I believe I have a link for that. I'm not certain. It's this old tiny black piece of chalk that is very quickly getting used up because I use it for these edges. And I just take a finger and just drag it along after I put some on there, and you can blend it out or leave it pretty close to the edge like I did with this one, but it tends to give a nice finished look to the piece, and I thought that that worked out pretty well. So here's the sheet of the lettering. I decided to use the word madness, and I got those all printed out, and I'm going to get them cut out, and I'll be right back with you to show you the placement. There they are, all cut out, and I'm going to just start gluing them down right along the top there. I'm using Liquitex Matte Medium for that. This is the, not the gloss, this is the matte, simply because I'm not sure, I don't think I want this to be glossy at the end, so most likely what I will do is add a matte varnish, And that's why I don't like to use the gloss medium for the glue, because I don't usually want something to be shiny, just a personal preference. But if you do, nothing wrong with using that as well. I'm just laying another coat of that down. And then the next step was a happy little accident. I happened to glance over to one of my 800 stacks of papers, and this piece that I made in a video a while back for you was sitting there, and I decided to add several chunks of that to the piece. It added, in my mind, some darkness that needed to be there without being overt. It balanced it a little bit more because you've got the dark image of the cat, but not really anything else going on. So I spent some time with some placement and just playing around with different areas that I could possibly put those. And then once I was happy with all of them, I did go in and just get those all glued down with a little bit more of that matte gel medium. When I started this piece, I never really dreamed that I was going to be using that particular piece of collage paper. In fact, I would have thought that the squares on the paper and the rectangles on the that I had drawn out of the pencil would have really not worked together at all, but somehow it ended up coming together. And that's, like I said, an exciting part about being an intuitive artist. You never really know what's going to happen. When I head into a piece, I'm never 100% sure what the outcome is going to be. And for me, that's part of the journey and part of the fun of making these abstract pieces. Now, you might notice that the word madness kind of fades into the background a little bit. I did at the very end, and you'll see me do this, I did take a micron pen and just very lightly went around some of the lettering. It could have probably still stood to be a little bit darker, but I really didn't necessarily want it to be. I think it works just fine the way it ended up, and I didn't want the letters to look like they were hand drawn on there, and the more I fiddle around with it with the pen, the more it was going to lose its spontaneous printed look and look like lettering that I had drawn on there, and that wasn't the look that I wanted to go with. So I was happy with the way that turned out. And I really like the way that looked. Because those are printed on tissue paper, you can see when I laid that over top of that one copper piece, you can still see it through there. And I really like the way that looked, so I went ahead and did that in a couple of other spots just to bring it all together. And while I'm finishing up these couple of steps here, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me again today. And thank you to everybody who's checked out my new Sunday morning series, the Sunday Morning Inklings. Those come out at 10 a.m. every Sunday morning. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. And these full videos come out at 10 a.m. every Friday. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. So thank you for checking those out with me. And if you like what I have going on here, please give me a thumbs up and a hype to get it out to more people. And I appreciate all of you for all of the subscribers. And yeah, just stick with me, and I put more stuff out every week. And this is what we ended up with at the end. I think it turned out pretty cool. I had no idea what it was going to look like when I started. I would have never guessed it was going to look like this, but pretty happy with the way it is. And you'll have to let me know what you think. But hey, thank you all for checking it out, and thanks for sticking with me to the end here. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning and again next Friday. Take care.